thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Israeli Defense Forces carried out 2 strikes on Hamas in Gaza last night, following a rocket landing inside Israeli territory. At around 9 p.m. Tuesday night near the Chof Ashkelon region, a rocket was fired from the Gaza Strip. Warning sirens were triggered and the shell was allowed to fall and explode in open territory. No injuries were reported, neither in the first rocket explosion nor from the IDF's response fire either. It isn't clear who launched the rocket from Gaza, but the IDF holds Hamas responsible for any attacks since the Hamas terror group controls the Gaza Strip. That being said, attacks from the Gaza Strip have been sparse lately. In July, there was an alarm, but it was reported to be a false alarm. The last actual rocket attack from Gaza was near the end of June, and no injuries or damages were reported then either. Police and ultra-Orthodox Jewish residents clashed in Jerusalem yesterday as the police conducted raids on anti-draft extremists' offices. 6 people were arrested, but not without a struggle. Protesters shouted, threw stones, iron bars, and eggs at the police as they were trying to conduct the arrests. 3 rioters were also taken in. A police statement said, quote, "The Israeli police takes any attempt to use rioting and violence in order to influence and prevent police activity and the execution of court decisions seriously and will not allow it," end quote. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman took to Twitter to blast the anti-draft protesters' actions, writing, quote, "While the best of our sons and daughters are risking their lives to defend the homeland, an extremist, violent, and anti-Zionist group is attempting to prevent the enlistment of ultra-Orthodox Jews into the army. Shame," end quote. Later, the rioters gathered outside a building where Lieberman was, while the defense minister was inside paying his respects to a grieving Haredi rabbi. Upon exiting the building, the group threw stones at his security and vehicle as they drove away, while waving Palestinian flags. Prime Minister Netanyahu just can't seem to catch a break these days, as a new statement from the African president of Cape Verde is now denying claims made by the Israeli premier. Last week, after a meeting with the president of Cape Verde, Netanyahu took to Twitter to claim that the African country would no longer vote against Israel at the UN. He then took credit for fostering that change in Cape Verde's foreign policy, repeating these claims multiple times on social media and even at Sunday's cabinet meeting. But now, in a statement posted to his Facebook page, Cape Verde President Jorge Carlos Fonseca made clear that he had no power over the foreign policy, since foreign policy is run by the government, headed by the Prime Minister, just as it is in Israel. Further, the statement goes on to describe how in the ECOWAS diplomatic summit in West Africa, where the two met in June, at no point was voting in international forums addressed, let alone discussed. An Israeli diplomat speaking on condition of anonymity revealed that Cape Verde told the Israeli ambassador Paul Hirschon that they would not vote against Israel anymore in international forums, but it would appear that any changes in their voting pattern was a decision Cape Verde came to on their own. Alleged untruths are now haunting several Netanyahus at the moment, as the Prime Minister's son YAIR Netanyahu is now being sued for libel. It all started with Doo-Doo Gate, a spat a week and a half ago where a woman who lives near the Prime Minister's residence accused YAIR of leaving the family dog's droppings on the street and giving her the middle finger when she asked him to clean it up. Later, a social media project called 61 posted a graphic of, quote, 5 things you didn't know about YAIR Netanyahu, to which YAIR responded in a lengthy post. He accused the posting group of being an anti-Zionist organization funded by a fund to destroy Israel. MOLAD, the group behind 61, is now suing Netanyahu, saying, quote, "The claim that MOLAD is anti-Zionist has not a shred of truth and is meant to shame the organization and delegitimize it." The lawsuit explains further that, quote, "The claim that the plaintiff is anti-Zionist is an attempt to create an impression that the plaintiff is acting against the existence of the State of Israel and is de facto an enemy organization. These serious libelous words, which were not an honest mistake and were motivated by a goal to harm the plaintiff, could be considered incitement," end quote. The watered-down version of Israel's ban on binary options companies isn't cutting it for Israel's coalition chief. Even though the Knesset Reforms Committee voted 4-0 on Monday in favor of the legislation, Likud's David Bitan is against some of the provisions and asks that debate be reopened. Bitan, as coalition chairman, is now charged with bringing the bill in its current form to the Knesset for a vote. The committee told Bitan that it was too late for his debate to be included, as he didn't even arrive in time for the discussion session, let alone the vote itself. Bitan isn't budging, though, saying, quote, "Why is this so urgent? It can wait," end quote. Bitan wants to allow Stop Option and other related binary options firms to be allowed to continue their operations, while the bill currently bans all binary firms and gives them just 3 months to close up shop or face jail time. It was reported by the Times of Israel that Bitan told Knesset member Azaria that he needed stop option to be left alone, as its leaders were members of the Likud and he needed their support to maintain his position. Regardless, Azaria, who is from the Kulanu party, is trying to force Bitan's hand into putting the bill into a vote as soon as possible.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.